The following recap is about a movie called The Signal, where three friends get involved in a strange conspiracy involving Area 51, aliens, and extraterrestrial technology. Can they survive? Nick, Jonah, and Haley are three friends and students at the MIT. They are on their way to California because Haley plans to spend a year abroad. Besides being best friends, Haley and Nick are also in a dysfunctional relationship. Alongside their trip, they stop by a motel where they plan to spend the night. But before Nick can get to sleep, he receives a strange message from NOMAD, a hacker that has previously hacked into the school system and blamed it all on our characters, which almost got them expelled. Now, wanting to get back at him, Nick wakes up Jonah. They reverse the connection and can locate NOMAD's IP address. But at the same time, NOMAD hacks into Haley's computer in the back and sends them pictures of themselves in real time, making them realize that this guy is not a joke. The next day, Jonah insists on finding NOMAD, who oddly enough is located just alongside their way to California, namely in Nevada. However, Nick isn't sure about it. He worries about his girlfriend and doesn't want her to be involved in sketchy things. However, at the petrol station where they take a break, Jonah convinces Nick to take the risk and search for the notorious hacker. Nick reluctantly agrees. Before driving off, Haley and Nick get into a heated argument, causing her to break into tears. Nick, who recently got sick with ALS or something similar, is questioning his worth and therefore his relationship with her. He doesn't want to waste her time and is worried about everything since she's leaving for a whole year, an insecurity most of us would understand. When they continue their journey, the night has already arrived. It's pitch dark and they are about to arrive where NOMAD is located. Once they leave the car, the only thing they find is a rundown house that looks like something straight from a horror movie. This is how people get killed. They leave Haley back in the car, which probably is a mistake. The two young men enter the building and it becomes increasingly clear that no one is around. Time to leave. But if all of this wasn't bad enough, they decide to enter the basement, of course. They suddenly hear Haley scream from above. Both run back up, but Haley is gone. The car doors are open and the radio is going nuts. At this moment, our characters start to panic. What happened and where is she? Screaming her name doesn't help. She is completely gone until this happens. Chaos breaks out. Lights are flashing and people are screaming. Coming here was not a good idea. And then out of nowhere, as if all of this was a dream, Nick opens his eyes and is surrounded with bright light. He has no idea what is going on, and the men around him in white protective clothing are not very comforting. They treat him as if he was an alien. Where is he? What just happened? And most importantly, where are his friends? Now, almost fainting, he is pushed through a corridor until they arrive at the well-secured door. When he enters, a man named Damon sits in front of him. But instead of pulling out a blue and red pill, he just calmly questions Nick, but in full Morpheus fashion. And rather in a very nice tone. Is he a good guy or is he a bad guy? We will find out. He tells Nick that he has made contact with an EBE, an extraterrestrial biological entity, and that he might be contaminated with an alien virus, hence the protective wear. But before Nick can get to the bottom of everything here, his nose starts to bleed. The situation is too overwhelming. Once back in his quite nice looking room, he analyzes the situation. He finds a mysterious tattoo on his wrist with the number 23541. Nick is in complete disbelief. Was he really attacked by an alien? Are these people really trying to help him? In any way, what he must do is get information. He is once again brought into the room with Damon, but on his way there, he passes by various rooms. It seems like he isn't the only one who's being held captive there. He passes room by room until, eventually, he comes by Haley. He gets furious and demands to get to her, but the guard pushing his wheelchair can't be convinced. The first thing he asks Damon is to see her. In fact, he would deny any cooperation unless they let him join her. But Damon only replies that she is in good hands and that there is nothing more that Nick can do. He follows up with a deep and profound question of how many toes does Nick has. A bit weirded out and disturbed by the question, he answers with, 10. But anyway, the weird questions continue until Damon decides to show Nick the following footage. Now, the interesting fact about this footage is that it was recorded by Nick and Jonah themselves when they have arrived at NOMAD's location. In this footage though, Damon points out this alien face hiding in the tree, proving that his story was right and that Nick might really be contaminated and a danger. At this point, he questions his own sense of reality. Is he held captive for a greater good, or is this all a setup? Now back in his room, he hears a sound coming through the air shaft. It's Jonah. He is relieved. Despite this whole situation, hearing his friend's voice is the best thing that has happened so far. But they can only talk for a short moment before Jonah gets taken away. Nick as well is brought to Damon, again. Having to go through other childlike experiments, he gets quite agitated, thinking he's wasting his time. After all, he's a math genius studying at the MIT. These people have messed with the wrong guy, he thinks. He has already developed a plan to escape. When he gets back to his room, he crushes the bread snacks into a fine powder, bites off a part of the IV tube, stuffs the powder in, and blows it onto the numerical lock next to the door. Due to the oily fingerprints, the powder indicates which 4-digit code is used to open and lock the door. Genius. With Jonah on the other side of the air shaft, he can calculate the variables and determine the code. At the same time, Jonah sounds very worried. He claims that he can barely see anything and that his arms are completely numb. Now, at the same time, we cut to a cow vibing to classical music. This wouldn't be a mysterious government lab without that scene, I guess. The lights go out and the chair is smashing into the protective glass. Whatever the heck that was, we don't know. However, an alarm breaks out, causing the guards to react quickly. Now, Nick takes a chance and tries to roll away. However, he doesn't get very far. The situation grows more tense. Everyone is stressed out and scared. Once the alarm subsides though and they re-enter the facility, Nick spots creepy marks alongside the wall. Whatever this was, it wasn't anything human. Whatever is going on here is dangerous. He needs to find his friends and get out of here ASAP. The next day, when the guards enter Nick's room, the only thing they can find are mappings of the facility. Nick has escaped. He constructed a complete map of this lab inside of his brain only. He even calculated the time frames in which the guards pass from A to B. He picks up Haley and is on his way out. Multiple times he's almost caught, but with a Jimmy Neutron brain and a bit of luck, he eventually makes it to the final door. Breaking into a sweat, he tries to activate the code by poking at it with an IV tube. He almost makes it out, but is caught by the guards in the last second. On a better note though, when he wakes up, he looks straight into the eyes of his girlfriend Haley. She is awake. That's a great thing, but the next shocker doesn't wait. The guards, as insensitive as they are, deny them to hold hands, causing Nick to get angry once again. He eventually falls to the floor and the guards leave, and Nick discovers that he got a new pair of legs. Being creeped out is understandable, but these bionic legs look rather cool. They look a bit unstable and remind me personally of origami, but I'm happy to be proven wrong. Since he was bound to lose the ability to walk anyway, this might turn out to be a great advantage. It takes a moment for him to calm down, understandably, but when he looks at Haley, he discovers new strength. If he can't escape for his own sake, then he sure as hell can for her. He gets up, grabs Haley's bed, kicks open the door, and escapes as if he was Arnold Schwarzenegger. The guards are scared, proving that his legs possess a great deal of power. Nick uses that advantage and moves forward to escape. However, Damon follows him. Before Nick can vanish, Damon steps in between and speaks out a word of warning, telling him that it's too dangerous to go up and that he can only safeguard him down here. Now, whatever the heck that means, Nick has had enough. Nick steps forward, ending up in a tunnel system. If you're waiting for a basilisk to join the chat, then you will be disappointed. In any way though, they both make it out, and just like clockwork, Haley awakes. Now somehow they find an old lady who is willing to drive them to their next gas station. But the lady is kind of strange. She is talking nonsense all of the time, babbling something about gods and angels. However, freaked out, Nick is glad when they arrive at the gas station. However, there, things don't really change. He leaves Haley back next to a truck while he goes in to make a phone call. But as he enters and tries to use the phone, he can't get any connection. Is this a coincidence? Now, one of the people that were sitting inside has meanwhile left the shop and walks over to the truck and drives off with Haley inside. Nick panics. He runs outside and tries to catch up with the truck. It seems like he's starting to master his new legs. He gets pushed away from the truck though, causing the distance between them to widen. Nick gets back up, locks in the truck as if he was a cheetah, and sprints ahead. He reaches incredible speed in no time and catches up easily. Meanwhile, Haley has taken the gun out of the car compartment and aims at the driver. They leave the driver back on the street, enter the truck, and drive away as if they were Bonnie and Clyde. At this moment, we cut back to the old lady that has helped our characters before. Damon has found her. He questions her and brings her to his facility. It becomes clear that she definitely has a few loose screws up there. He asks her if she has made contact with Nick, saying that he is contaminated and a danger. But the old lady just keeps on talking nonsense again, until her nose starts to bleed. Basically like Nick's before, implying that there is a secret hidden in that detail. She does not make it out alive, in case you wonder. Meanwhile, our characters keep passing the same spots over and over again. How is this possible? Are they just drugged and out of focus, or are they still located in the facility? It goes without saying that ever since they have left, Haley is behaving very strange. Her character is comparable to someone who dropped acid at a Goa party. She is completely spaced out. To conserve energy, they decide to spend the night in an abandoned house near a lake. At the same time, Damon makes another encounter with the truck driver from which Nick and Haley have escaped before. But this guy too just talks complete nonsense. Something is going on here and we have yet to figure out what. Are these people going mad because they have contacted Nick, or is there a bigger secret going on? Now back where Nick and Haley are spending the night, they hear a sound coming from the house. They hide themselves thinking it's Damon's team, but in reality it is someone else. They meet Jonah, who is dressed in the same overall like the guards. He tells them that he has escaped and hid himself using their dress code. Smart move. In any way, he too is completely spaced out. It seems like he was heavily experimented on as well. Jonah tells Nick that the 5-digit number on their bodies add up to 51, hinting at Area 51, implying that they are stuck in a massive human experiment. However, Nick has a hard time to believe that. But then Jonah points out that the items lying around are all fake. Nothing is as it appears. The cans are empty, the bottles are hollow, and every phone so far wasn't working either. It's basically like modern day North Korea. Nothing is real. At the same time, he shows him his arms, which appear to have been replaced with the same sci-fi tech as well. Both are in great distress, but in my opinion, these new tech limbs aren't too bad. It's not very nice to have your limbs be taken off without your consent, of course, but considering that our characters want to escape and have to fight highly developed government agencies, these limbs will be useful. The next day, our 3 characters are finally reunited. Sitting in a truck, they are trying to find a way out. They arrive at the control, but Jonah, who looks like one of the bad guys, might be able to convince them to let him pass. However, the guards eventually come around and demand him to get out of the car. He declines and accelerates, but it's too late. The guards have already activated the lock system, keeping the truck in place. Jonah storms out. As if he has never done anything else, he physically overwhelms multiple soldiers and makes it to the control room. He tries to sabotage the system to let the truck pass, but with his new bionic hands, he isn't able to type. And at just that moment, a grenade enters the building and destroys it almost completely. This whole situation is a mess. Jonah is almost passing out, but clinges onto life a bit longer. He gets up and reunites with Nick. He tells him to enter the truck and accelerate on his signal. With tears and complete trust, Nick agrees, and then, with a great sense of style, Jonah gets over to the truck, swings at the pillar halting it, and shatters it into a million pieces, allowing Haley and Nick to escape. Both remaining characters continue their escape. They drive until they again get halted by an upcoming street blockage. Having probably played a great deal of Need for Speed, Nick decides to crash through. He accelerates, but before he can make it, the soldiers lay out spikes across the street, resulting in a horrific crash that ultimately prevents both of our characters from escaping. Before Nick can react, the guards pick up Haley and take her away. Nick is desperate. Holding Haley's necklace in his hands, he ponders about what they all went through just because he wanted to find NOMAD. At this moment, he's facing off Damon. Looking at him from a distance, he realizes that Damon's name backwards is spelled NOMAD. He loses his mind, but Damon, or NOMAD, just smiles and confirms the suspicion, and says that it was him who brought them here. However, without Nick, who wanted to find him, it would have never gotten this far, causing Nick to feel a great deal of regret. Where most people would give up, Nick doesn't. He looks out for a way to escape and eventually, against all odds, turns around and jets forward, this time with supersonic speed. The soldiers fire bullets, but he just outruns them. He speeds across the bridge until he's seemingly breaking through the sound barrier and literally through a physical one as well. What the fuck is going on? The last piece of the puzzle enters. Before he can realize where he is, he faces off Nomad, who is now standing in front of him, but in the other dimension. He takes off his helmet, showing us his real body, and for the first time we realize that he was an alien himself, and that Nick and his friends have long left Earth without even knowing it. And then the camera spins around, proving this assumption. Now the question that remains is, have our characters left Earth once they made contact with the alien, or is all of humanity stuck in the simulation to begin with, and all our characters have done was uncovering this secret? I don't know. What do you think? Frankly, I don't care because I think this was a great ending, and I must admit I rather enjoyed this movie as a change of pace. What do you think? Let me know in the comments, and I suggest you binge another one. And with that said, I see you guys in a few days. Thanks for watching. Peace.